Summer camp hackathon has concluded. Summer camp hackathon이 이제 종료됐고 오늘 아침에 이 발표 봐서 오늘 오후에 이 프로젝트 DeFi 프로젝트 싹 다 한번 봤는데 이 프로젝트 이제 리스트 하나 만들고 그거 안내해 줄게요. Summer camp has ended. It's over. Submissions are in. I went through all 160 DeFi protocols and projects, and I've narrowed down the list to projects that I think maybe are worth looking at. And so I'll be sharing that list with you today. 그 list 같이 볼게요. It's very nice outside today in Seoul. 오늘 날씨 너무 좋은데 왜 이런 오후에 방송하는지 잘 모르겠는데 어 최대한 빨리 안내해 주고 방송 끝날게요. 다들 이제 주말 보내고 싶으니까 I know everyone's trying to enjoy their weekend. It's a very nice day in Seoul. The charts don't look very good. 차트는 별로 안 좋은데 시장 뭐 시장은 별로 크립토 시장은 별로 안 좋은데 날씨가 좋아서 물론 한국인들은 다 이제 오늘 좋은 주말 보내고 싶으니까 이거 빨리 할게요. 오늘 방송. I'll try to finish this early for my Korean subscribers. It's a very nice weekend. I know a lot of people want to go out, right? So let's get started. Let me go to this nice little PPT that I prepared for you guys. 이 간단한 PPT 하나 준비해 줬는데, so I looked at all the DeFi protocols. 다 이 DeFi protocols 봤어요. I have to start with a warning. 이거 전 방송처럼 전 hackathon 프로젝트 볼 때처럼 똑같이 이거 경고해야 돼요. I have to give a warning to my subscribers. Anyone who's been investing in Solana DeFi knows what the deal is, right? It's a VC. It's just a playground for VCs. So I have to warn all of you guys, if you guys are going to invest in these projects, if the projects are funded by the VCs, right, they will dump on you, right? So the game is very rigged against you. So I've got to warn you, right, before you invest in any of these projects. Later, some of these projects will be raising seed rounds and doing all this stuff, right? Typical Solana DeFi VC stuff. And they will dump on you, right? So I can't guarantee you that any of these projects will be great or good investments for you as a retail investor, right? I'm just telling you about certain projects that I found to be, somewhat noteworthy or interesting, right? But it doesn't mean I'm endorsing these projects, right? I only endorse projects on my channel that I can guarantee, right, that you will not get dumped on, right? By these projects, right? So nothing is an endorsement that I cover, right? It's just for informational purposes only, right? You have to know this if you want to get into these projects, right? Be prepared to run the fuck away if you see the VCs getting involved and then you are investing on right unfair terms, right? Just avoid these projects if you see that in the future, right? I don't know what's going to happen to these projects in the future, right? Just giving you a heads up, right? 그냥 경고하는 거야. 우리 구독자들은 한국인 구독자들은 잘 알아요. 왜 이런 경고하는지. 그래서 넘어갈게요, 이제. 그래서 이런 프로젝트 볼 때 제가 저희 사고 방식 알려줄게요. So I'll tell you kind of my thought process as I was narrowing down this list of projects. So if you've been investing in Solana DeFi for a long time, like 2 years, in my case, 저희 같은 경우는 이제 투자한 지 2년 됐으니까 I've watched all these projects for many years and seeing, right, and have been seeing how they progress, right? 이 프로젝트가 어떻게 개발되는지 이제 많이 봤어요. 그래서 첫 번째 여기 위에 볼게요. So start from the top here. I know there's a lot of foreigners who watch this stuff and they can't read Korean. So my Korean subscribers can just read this Korean. 우리 한국인 구독자들은 이거 여기 그대로 이거 읽을 수 있으니까 외국인 구독자들이 한국말 못하니까 영어로 해석해 줄게요. So if you look from the top here, I've mentioned that the primitives are mostly built out now in Solana. Most of the primitives are built out. Things like Zeta and Mango and things like that, right? So if you're going to be looking at these primitives, for the primitives that are new primitives coming up, if they're competing with already established protocols, these new primitives, it's going to be very hard to compete with the established primitives, right? The reason is that Solana tends to favor, right, its own VC-backed projects, its own VC-backed primitives. So if you see like a primitive like in DeFi in summer camp and it's competing with something already that's built and backed by Solana VC, it's going to be very hard for those projects to compete, right? Just you have to know that about Solana. It is a VC chain through and through, 100%, right? Second point I have to make here, right? With the existing protocols, right? All of our existing DeFi protocols, they're not very good at making revenue. And that's the number one problem with all these DeFi protocols, right? They're very interesting projects, but they don't know how to make money, which is why I have yet to formally endorse projects on Solana other than the one project that I've endorsed, right? I don't endorse these projects because they don't know how to make money, right? It has to be favorable for retail investors to invest in these projects. And the only way retail should invest in these projects is if they can make money by investing in these protocols, right? So the current like 99% of our current protocols, they are not profitable whatsoever, right? They don't make money, right? So, for example, if you look at our asset management protocols, they don't have fund managers, right? They don't have fund managers. They don't have people who are managing the funds full time. It will take a full time fund manager, right, for a successful fund, right? They have to put a lot of time and effort into trading, right, and managing their assets if they want a successful fund, which will create a successful asset management protocol, right? We don't have anything like that in our asset management protocols, right? Same thing with our DeFi options vaults protocols, right? If you look at the DeFi options vaults protocols, if you look at the individual vault performance, the individual vault performance is very low, right? So it's like sometimes it's like single percentages, right? So if you're a good trader, you obviously you would rather trade crypto than putting your money into these option vaults, and you want to try trading, right? Because you think the returns are better in just straight up crypto trading, right? So in order for protocols that depend on these kinds of DeFi options vaults and things like that, or any kind of yield vaults or strategies, they have to provide better returns than the returns that they have now, right? That's why there's poor product market fit, right? Because people aren't using these protocols because they'd rather gamble, right? Their crypto, they'd rather trade and try to beat the market, right? So that's something, right? Again, right? Contributing to this, lack of, revenue. These protocols are not generating revenue, right? Or you can look at our lending protocols, right? So our lending protocols, you need competent underwriters, actuaries, right? They don't have the proper underwriters or people who know how to assess risk, right? To give out loans, right, through our lending protocols, and that will help them generate more revenue, right? Um, so this is why there's no such thing as under collateralized loan protocols in Solana, right? It's because of that, right? So until we see, real people, finance people step in, right? All of these protocols, whether it's lending, asset management, or DeFi option vaults, DeFi option vaults is a little different because it's automated, but anything else, like if you don't have the right people involved with these protocols, they will not be making money. They won't be making money, right? So if you see existing protocols, right, when it comes to our existing protocols, you really shouldn't be putting any more money into those protocols until they've proven that they can bring in revenue. If they can't generate revenue, you really should not be investing in those protocols, right? That's the first principle of DeFi investing that you have to learn, right? On the other hand, right, if you see our protocols, our current protocols that have a way to generate revenue, if they know how to generate revenue, then you should maybe start thinking about, okay, the market's down, these coins are all back at zero pre-IDO prices, right? Maybe those are the ones that I should start maybe looking into, right? If you're looking into existing DeFi protocols, right? So when you're looking at these kinds of protocols, these summer camp protocols coming out, these are all things that you should consider together, right? What if you're going to invest in these kinds of protocols, right? In my opinion, uh, the the primitives, right? Since they've been built, when you have products that are composing on top of our primitives, the growth potential of those protocols is going to be inherently lower than the primitives themselves, right? So it's going to be a little bit more dangerous to be investing purely in these protocols that are built on top of these primitives, right? It's going to be very hard to choose the winners there, right? The growth potential is going to be smaller, right? So it's a little riskier as an investment, right? So what you can do, right, because of that, is you can look for new primitives. So I've looked at some of the new primitives from summer camp, right? So some of those new primitives are on my list here, right? Or you can look at our current protocols and see whether they are going to be able to generate revenue, right? So if you see protocols that are already built that can somehow start generating revenue, those are the things that you should look at as you consider investing in our protocols, right? And of course, the last option again, you just trade Sol. If you think you can trade Sol, just trade Solana and then do your best, right? All right, so those are some tips that I wanted to share with you, right? As you look at all of our DeFi protocols, right? I've been looking at this stuff for 2 years. 2년 동안 계속 봤으니까 물론 이런 말씀 전달해 줘야 돼요. Okay, so here's the good stuff. 이제 중요한 부분 커버할게요. I've looked through the projects. These are basically the projects that I'm personally kind of interested in or thought were somewhat notable. 이 서머 캠 프로젝트들 중에 160개 나왔는데 개인적으로 제가 그냥 관심 있는 프로젝트 어느 정도 이제 관심 있는 프로젝트들 여기 다 적어 놨어요. So you can start with this list here. Again, if you are good at doing research on your own, you can just tune out here and then you can do your own research. I will be very briefly covering right each of these protocols, and then I'll finish, right? 우리 구독자들은 어떻게 이제 연구하는지 잘 아니까 이 리스트로 시작하고 우리 구독자들이 알아서 각각 이제 다 연구할 수 있으니까 뭐 더 이상 방송 볼 필요 없다고 생각하면 뭐 물론 안 봐도 되고 간단히 이 프로토콜 각각 하나씩 다 커버하고 저희 개인 의견 알려줄게요. 그리고 방송 끝날게요. All right. So I'm going to start from the top with Sure Protocol. Sure Protocol is a poem protocol. Permissionless market price smart contract insurance with proof of breach. So the thing with our insurance protocols, 보험 프로토콜들이 이제 추사 추성준님 안녕하세요. 이 오늘 서머 캠프 프로토콜들 보고 싶네요. 그래서 방송 참가했네요. 프로젝트들 몇 가지 있는데 간단히 설명해주고 개인 의견 알려주고 끝날게요. 오늘은 날씨가 좋아서 다들 놀고 싶으니까. 네. Yeah. People are wondering about our protocols, what's coming out, right? 이제 사람들이 궁금할 거예요. Solana protocol 뭐뭐 나올 건지. 그래서 물론 이제 같이 볼 거예요. So if you look at Sure protocol, the thing with the insurance protocols, 이런 이제 크립토의 보험 프로토콜들이 많이는 성공 못했어요. There's a lot of things involved with these insurance protocols that make it hard for them to scale. 얘네들이 이제 확장성 그런 것 조금 어려워요. 그래서 전 방송에 뭐 Insurace하고 다른 프로토콜 몇 가지 봤는데 저희 같은 경우는 이제 관심 어느 정도 있기는 있는데 low medium인데 어느 정도 있는데 뭐 경쟁자들 많고 이런 프로토콜 이제 확장성 그 상승하기 조금 어려워요. It's a little hard for these protocols to grow, right? So I'm kind of interested in it, right? If you're interested in Sure Protocol, 이제 Sure Protocol 관심 있으면 여기 유튜브 이 동영상 하나 올렸어요. So go through this YouTube if you're interested in Sure. I briefly looked at this demo. 여기 데모 있는데 이거 한번 보세요. You can judge for it yourself based on their presentation. 얘네 다 이제 각각 이 PPT 보고 다 알아서 개인으로 파악해요. I just think this is something maybe that's worth just keeping an eye on. 그냥 지켜보는 거 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요. 아직 Solana native 이 보험 프로토콜 아직 뭐 그렇게 많이는 발전되지 않으니까 그냥 지켜보는 거 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요. I do know there's a couple protocols that are already building some insurance protocols on Solana. So I think there are competitors. Solana 경쟁자들 있는 걸로 알고 있어요, 지금은. 뭐 그렇게 많이 개발 안 됐는데 있긴 있어요. Let me go to the next one, Lulu Finance. Lulu Finance was kind of interesting. Lulu Finance은 조금 신기했어요. It's a decentralized lending order book. 그래서 대출 프로토콜인데 이 order book 식으로는 없어 이런 거. So it's a little different from most lending protocols. So I'm kind of interested. I don't think they have any other protocols like Lulu Finance right now. 현재 솔라나에 이런 랜딩 orderbook 프로토콜은 없는 걸로 알고 있어. 그래서 경쟁자는 없어요 지금. 그래서 이렇게 미디움으로 표시했어요. But yeah, interesting stuff. They have a presentation as well. 얘네들도 이제 여기 presentation 있으니까 다 개인으로 이거 한번 보시고 잘 파악하세요. I'm not gonna go over the whole thing. You can do this on your own time. 다 이제 자기 이제 시간 있을 때 한번 보세요. So you can go over this kind of interesting stuff. I will definitely be keeping an eye on this, right? Lulu Finance. Third project, 세 번째 프로젝트 슬립스트림이고 이건 이 treasury management인데 이제 이런 프로젝트 왜 필요한지 궁금하면 if you're wondering like why am I interested in something like slipstream, everyone knows like during this bear market all these founders have been doing really sketchy shit with their treasuries. 이제 다 이제 프로토콜 창립자들이 자기 자산을 다 이제 이상하게 거래하든가 뭐 이상한 짓 하다가 아니면 아예 그냥 훔쳐가든가 그런 이상한 짓 너무 많아서 이제 이런 프로토콜들이 이제 생겼어요. 그런 사건이 너무 많이 터져서 the only reason why these kinds of treasury management protocols are coming is because these protocol founders cannot be trusted. They were all caught during the bear market doing a bunch of really sketchy shit with their treasuries. They were gambling, right, the treasuries away. They were just some were just straight up rug pulling, right? They were just stealing the money and running away. Right. So now you have protocols like Slipstream coming in and they're getting more attention, right? 이제 사람들이 이런 프로토콜 조금 더 집중해요. 왜냐면 하락세에 물론 이제 창립자들이 럭풀 너무 많이 해서 이제 이런 프로토콜 조금 더 이제 관심이 생겼어요. Um, do I think it's some kind of huge growth potential category? 이런 종류별이 뭐 potentially 뭐 그렇게 크다고 생각하지 않은데 뭐 어느 정도 그냥 보는 거 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요. 물론 현재 다른 Solana 이런 비슷한 프로토콜 있긴 있어. There are protocols building on Solana that are related to treasury management, right? So there is competition for Slipstream, but again, you see more and more of these kinds of protocols coming up. 점점씩 이런 프로토콜들이 계속 생겨요, Solana, right? So just maybe something to keep an eye on. 그냥 지켜보는 거 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요. 추성 추성님 개웃기죠? I'm laughing too. I'm fucking laughing too, right? I'm feeling the same way you are, right? 저도 똑같이 생각해요. 저도 그냥 웃었어요. 이런 거 보고, right? The fucking protocols are like talking about the shit that I've been talking about for years now. 이제 Solana 프로토콜들이 제가 몇 년 동안 얘기한 거 이제 얘네들도 이제 지금 인정하고 있어요. I mean, I've been covering all the sketchy shit in Solana for years now, right? So obviously you're gonna have people like this, right? Saying, "Oh, okay, there's an opportunity, right? There's an opportunity for me, right?" 이제 제가 몇 년 동안 이런 거 이제 안내해 주니까 이제 똑똑한 창립자들이 '아, 거기에도 뭐 기회 있구나.' 하고 이제 만든 거예요, right? Again, so that slipstream, very funny, right? It is kind of funny that these kinds of protocols are being made. 이런 프로토콜 개발되는 것도 조금 웃기긴 웃고요. All right, let me go to Nomis. Nomis도 있어. So kind of interesting on-chain credit. This is something that we've been seeing more and more in DeFi. 이 DeFi 시장에 이런 on-chain credit 프로토콜들이 점점씩 이런 말씀 조금 생기고 있어요. The reason, 물론 이유는, right, when it comes to taking out loans, right, or things like that, 이제 사람들이 돈 빌리고 싶을 때 물론 이런 이제 점수 같은 거 필요하니까 그래서 이런 프로토콜들이 이제 생기고 있어, right? We're gonna be doing things on chain, right? So there might be a need for an on chain credit score. 이제 계속 on chain으로 이제 사람들이 거래할 거니까 DeFi에 그래서 이런 노미스 같은 on chain credit 점수 프로토콜 생기고 있어. I'm not super interested in it. I mean, I'm kind of interested in it because there's not a lot of these protocols on Solana. 뭐 그렇게 큰 관심은 없는데 이런 비슷한 프로토콜 솔라나에 없으니까 뭐 어느 정도는 관심이 있긴 있어요. 어, 그냥 지켜보는 거 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요. I don't know like how much money can something like this make? I'm not sure about that. 그냥 생각해 보면 이런 프로토콜이 뭐 정확히 얼마나 상장할 수 있는지 얼마나 돈 벌 수 있는지 그런 거 예상하기가 조금 힘드니까 그냥 지켜보는 것만 추천해요. 이런 프로토콜. Let me go to the next one. 다음으로 갈게요. Oh, you can get more information about Nomus here. Nomus의 이제 정보 여기 얻을 수 있어. 그래서 여기 한번 보죠. They have their own little site here. 얘네들 홈페이지 따로 있어요. Right? So you can look at their little presentation here too. 얘네들 여기 presentation도 하나 있어. I did see this, right? 저도 이거 확인했어요. They actually had some interesting data that they were aggregating. 얘네들이 조금 재미있는 데이터를 모았어요. 여기 보면. Let me just show you the kind of data that they're looking at. 정확히 어떤 데이터 찾는지 여기 볼 수 있어. 뭐 지갑 언제 만들었는지 뭐 정확히 지갑에 돈 얼마나 있는지 뭐 거래 뭐 얼마나 자주 하는지 그런 데이터 되게 많아요. 이런 지갑 분석할 때. 뭐 아무튼 이런 프로토콜도 있긴 있어요 여기. But anyways, you can see the kind of data that they're looking at, lots of different stuff that they're looking at when they look at these wallets, right? And you could check it out here, right? Let me go to Bermuda. Bermuda is the next thing that I'm kind of interested in. Bermuda는 조금 관심이 있긴 있어요. So what's Bermuda? It's a privacy DEX. So the interesting thing about Bermuda is there's privacy protocols. 이 Bermuda에 조금 신기한 건 Solana 이런 ZK 프로토콜 있긴 있는데 ZK DEX는 없어. This is like the next step. 이제 ZK 프로토콜 이제 다음 이제 그다음 단계가 이제 아예 그냥 DEX이니까 진화로 생각할 수 있죠. 이 종류별에. So kind of interesting. I don't think there's anything like a privacy DEX, although there are privacy protocols. 또다시 말씀하는데 경쟁자들이 있는지 궁금하면 ZK 프로토콜 있긴 있는데 이런 완전 이제 ZK DEX는 없어서 이렇게 표시했어요. That's the reason why I said no with the asterisk, right? It depends on how you're defining, right? What this DEX is going to do, how much overlap is going to be with our existing privacy protocols. That I don't know, right? That remains to be seen, right? But an interesting idea. 개념이 조금 신기하긴 신기해요. 이제 아예 그냥 거래소가 ZK 거래소 만드는 거니까. All right, so that's Bermuda. Next protocol is Viper Vaults. These guys have been around for a very long time. 이런 프로토콜은 만든 지 되게 오래됐어요. 이건 델타 중립하고 이 leverage farming 같은 프로토콜. These guys have been around for a very long time. Delta neutral strategies, leverage yield farming. There's lots of protocols like this already on Solana. 이미 이런 프로토콜 Solana 많아요. So it's going to be hard for these guys to compete. It's a very competitive space. 경쟁이 되게 심해요. 이 종류별에. So I'm not super interested because of that. 그것 때문에 뭐 그렇게 큰 관심은 없는데 again, these are one of the bigger names. So maybe just keeping an eye on them could be worth it, right? 그냥 지켜보는 거 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요. 왜냐면 좀 큰 프로젝트이고 솔라나 개발한 지 되게 오래됐어요. 이런 프로젝트는, right? So that's Viper. Let me go to VDEX. It's a perp options DEX. 이 VDEX는 perp options이고 그래서 options하고 뭐 여러 가지 뭐 그런 파생 상품 그런 거 많아요. So there's a lot of derivatives and things like that on VDEX, right? You can see their little pitch deck here. I'm not gonna go through each slide. 얘네들 이제 PPT 따로 여기 준비해 놓고 얘네들이 정확히 이제 뭐 만들 건지 여기 다 볼 수 있어요. You can see exactly, what kind of features they plan on integrating, right? Perp futures, perp options, things like that, right? Structured products, 얘네들도 뭐 카타나랑 조금 겹치긴 겹칠 거예요, 이런 거, right? So they'll be competing with Katana and all those other structured products vaults, right? DeFi options vaults, right? So it's kind of hard to tell exactly what other protocols they're going to be competing with. 여러 가지 역할이 있을 거니까 정확히 우리 뭐 카타나하고 뭐 그런 프로토콜이랑 예를 들면 뭐 사이파이낸스 뭐 그런 프로토콜이랑 얼마나 겹치는지 그거 판단하기 조금 어려워요. 그래서 물론 겹치는 부분이 있을 거니까 경쟁자 이렇게 yes를 표시했어요. 어, 별자리 있고. Because of the kind of overlapping function of VDEX with a lot of our other protocols, I said yes with the asterisk, right? I'm not exactly sure how much overlap there's going to be with our other protocols, right? Then let's go to Solana portfolio. Solana portfolio 도 볼게요. This was just a little cute kind of widget type thing that I saw. 이건 완전 프로토콜은 아니고 어 그냥 미니 프로토콜로 생각하면 돼요. widget처럼 생각해요. This person made kind of an interesting graphical representation of portfolio optimization. 이제 자기 포트폴리오 이제 관리할 때 가장 좋은 이제 전략 이제 만들고 싶을 사람들이 있으면 이제 비주얼로 이제 이렇게 깔끔하게 볼 수 있어요. 그래서 이런 건 그냥 위젯으로 생각하고 아예 그냥 프로젝트로 생각하지 않아요. 근데 신기하긴 신기했어요. 이런 거 만든 거. 그래서 물론 다른 자산 관리 프로젝트이 이런 거 그냥 가져갈 수 있어요. This could be rolled up into any one of our asset management protocols. So I think this kind of stuff is better rolled up into a bigger protocol. 더 그런 것 때문에 더 큰 프로토콜로 그냥 이제 M&A 하는 거 나을 것 같아요. 이런 프로젝트는, right? I don't think this is going to be a full-fledged project. I think there's a neat idea that can be integrated into something else that already exists, right? So that's why I said yes. 그런 이유 때문에 여기 경쟁자 있는지로 yes로 표시했어요. 그렇게 큰 관심은 없어. I don't think this has by itself. I don't think it's something that's worth investing in. 이 혼자서만 뭐 투자 뭐 별로 할 만하지 않다고 생각하는데 그냥 신기한 거 그냥 보여주고 싶었어. But I thought it was very interesting, so I wanted to show you, right? Just kind of worth looking at, right? 보는 거 그냥 나쁘지 않을 것 같았어. Let me go to the next one. Soul Index. Soul Index is a VIX protocol. Soul Index 같은 경우는 이제 VIX protocol이고 변동 protocol이고 volatility protocol. I don't think there's any that have been built yet. 아직은 이런 프로토콜은 없어요. 그래서 다 개발 중이에요, 지금. They're all kind of racing to be the first, right? To launch. 다 이제 출시하려고 하니까 지금은 뭐 별로 경쟁자들 없어요, 지금. So there's not a lot of really competitors for something like Soul Index. I'm kind of interested in this because nothing like this really has been built yet on Solana. 그냥 아직 이런 프로토콜 없으니까 관심 조금 있긴 있어요. Growth potential, I don't know, right? I don't know much. I don't know how many people are looking at these kinds of volatility indexes, but it's something that is something interesting to me. 사람들이 이런 거 뭐 얼마나 사용하는지 잘 모르겠는데 그냥 지켜보는 거 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요. I looked at the PPT. They do have a little presentation here. 얘네들도 따로 여기 presentation 간단한 거 하나 있으니까 한번 보세요. You can see what they're gonna do with this protocol if you look at their PPT. I did briefly look at this, right? And then the last protocol, Mercado Libre. 이 마지막 프로토콜은 이제 on-chain OTC 거래 프로토콜이니까 인데 Mercado is going to be acting as kind of like a broker between these OTC trades. 얘 이제 그냥 간단히 설명하면 on-chain OTC 프로토콜인데 Mercado가 이제 중개인 일 거예요. 그 역할 이제 할 거예요. So these guys are going to be kind of like the brokers, right, between any OTC transactions on chain, right? growth potential very small. 뭐 growth potential 얼마나 더 뭐 발전될 수 있는지 잘 모르겠는데 it could be like a niche thing. I don't think there's anything like this yet. 아직 Solana 이런 프로토콜 없는 걸로 알고 있어. 근데 뭐 투자 뭐 얼마나 투자할 만한지는 그건 잘 모르겠고 그냥 지켜보는 거 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요. Just keep an eye on it, right? So you can see kind of like with 160 protocols, 이 전체적으로 이제 프로토콜들 보면 160개 나왔는데 뭐 그렇게 많이 뭐 투자할 만한 프로젝트 뭐 그렇게 많지는 않아요 지금은. Um, there were some protocols during the last hackathon, Riptide, that were starting to experiment with real world assets, but I didn't see a lot of them with summer camp. 지난 마지막 프로젝트 뭐지 해커톤에 립타이드에 real world assets 뭐 실제 자산 프로토콜들 몇 가지 나왔는데 이번에는 뭐 그렇게 많지는 않았어요. I think what all those protocols realized 제 생각으로는 그런 이제 실제 자산 프로토콜들이 이제 규제하고 뭐 법 그런 거 되게 복잡한 거 이제 알고 있으니까 그런 거 해결하는 거 되게 힘들 거예요. 그래서 뭐 실제 자산 프로토콜 뭐 그렇게 많이는 안 나왔어요, 여기에. 이번 hackathon에. Because of it's very there's a lot of legal complications involved with real world assets, things like real estate and things like that. So figuring out the legalities of all that stuff is very complicated, which is why I think there weren't that many real world assets protocols that came out of summer camp. The ones that are dealing with real estate and things like that, there's a lot of complex legal things that they have to sort out, right? So I think real world assets, that's why you haven't seen a lot of those kinds of protocols coming out at summer camp, right? 그런 이유 때문에 이제 실제 자산 프로토콜 이번에 뭐 그렇게 많지는 않았어요. 립타이드랑 비하면. So again, some maybe a couple projects that might be worth looking at. 뭐 그렇지만 뭐 몇 가지 뭐 조금 특이한 프로젝트 있긴 있어요. But again, I would look at a range of projects and try to see, there's lots of different ways that you can go about investing. So just keep an eye on everything and see what these protocols are doing. 그렇지만 이 DeFi 프로토콜들 전체적으로 볼 때 뭐 이 세 프로젝트에 뭐 그렇게 뭐 나는 뭐 별로 관심 없다 이런 프로젝트 뭐 투자할 생각 없다. 뭐 다른 기회 항상 있을 거니까 이런 특징도 이제 잘 지켜보고 알아서 잘 판단해요. 우리 구독자들, right? You make your own decisions when you look at all these protocols. There's many ways to invest. You don't have to just keep on investing in all these new protocols, right? There's plenty of chances to keep an eye on all our protocols and see, right? It may if there's any good investment opportunities, right? All right, so that was a first look at summer camp. 이제 제가 하고 싶은 말 다 했어요. Research all the projects. You can go to the website yourself. 다 각각 여기 홈페이지 가서 다른 종류별 다 볼 수 있어. You can look at all the categories. I haven't looked at any of the other categories because again, I'm not personally interested in anything in Solana outside of DeFi. 개인적으로 또다시 말씀하는데 저희 같은 경우는 Solana DeFi만 관심 있고 다른 거 별로 관심이 없어. 그래서 계속 DeFi만 신경 쓰는 거예요. I don't have really any interest in anything outside of Solana DeFi, right? So that's why I haven't really covered in any of these other protocols, right? On today's broadcast. 그래서 오늘 방송은 그냥 DeFi만 봤어요, right? There were definitely some really sketchy ass projects for sure. 확실히 확실하게 이번에 summer camp DeFi 프로젝트를 다 봤는데 진짜 이상한 프로젝트 너무 많았어. Just projects that are clearly bogus, like complete bogus projects. 그러니까 아예 사기 프로젝트들 되게 많았어요. 꽤 많았어. Which is why I go over all this stuff for you and help you, right? Save time and look at some kind of decent projects and make your own decisions. 그래서 제가 대신으로 다 이제 이 프로젝트 다 정리했고 리스트 만들어줬어 오늘, right? All right. I'm gonna stick around for maybe 10 more minutes. 한 3시 30분까지 방송하고 끝날게요. I'll stick around for another 10 minutes. We'll end it at 3:30. You can hang out with me for another 10 minutes if you want. You can ask me Solana questions. 뭐 Solana 질문 같은 거 있으면 물어보세요. 없으면 10분 동안 Solana 소식 조금 더 보고 끝낼게요. If not, I'll be looking at some Solana news for a couple more minutes and then I will wrap things up. I know people want to get back to their weekends, right? 우리 구독자들이 다 이제 주말에 놀고 있으니까 다 이해해요. 잘 도우세요 이번 주말. Have fun, enjoy the weekend, right? I'll hang out here just a little bit longer. 조금 더 보고 끝날게요. People are freaking out. People are freaking out because of the market, I guess. 사람들이 다 놀라네요, 이 시장 때문에. See what's going on. 무슨 소식인지 한번 볼게요. 추성준님 가장 쓰레기 같은 프로젝트 뭐? 아우 씨. 진짜 너무 많았어요, 추성진님. I mean, here, let me give you an example of the kinds of projects that you should never fucking invest in. 진짜 좋은 질문이에요. 이런 프로젝트 찾는 것보다 어떻게 피하는지, 이상한 프로젝트 피하는지 그 방법 알려줄게요. I'll tell you how you should avoid these bad projects, right? That's a very good skill that you need to learn. 진짜 좋은 기술이에요. 주성준님 말씀한 거. Here's an example of a fucking project you should never fucking invest in. 이거 진짜 좋은 예입니다, 여러분. 절대 이 Cope Rush에 투자하면 안 돼요. You should never fucking invest in something like Cope. This would be the worst fucking project to invest in of all time. The fucking founders rug pulled. It turns out to be complete garbage project with absolutely nothing delivered, right? They promised so many things. They won the Serum Hackathon through fake voting. 예를 들면 얘네들이 이제 로드맵 약속 엄청 많이 했고 뭐 그렇게 뭐 많이 개발 안 했고 얘네들 창립자들도 럭풀 했고 그리고 이 아예 이제 Serum Hackathon 이길 때 걔네들이 투표할 때 이제 가짜 투표했어요. 그래서 이런 프로젝트 아직도 왜 이런 해커톤에 제출하는지 그 자체도 잘 모르겠어요. Like I have no fucking idea why these Cope people even submitted this project to the hackathon because people know that these guys are fucking joke, right? Imagine if you're a new investor in Solana. 그냥 새 Solana 투자자 입장으로 생각해요. 우리 hackathon 보면서 이런 쓰레기 프로젝트 아예 모르고 몰리면서 이제 나 이런 프로젝트 투자해야 되나? 그렇게 생각하는 사람들 너무 불쌍해요. 왜냐면 Solana 잘 모르니까 그런 사람들. Think about the people who are looking at this hackathon and they're new to Solana. They don't really know anything about our teams or they don't know anything about our projects and they're looking at this Cope Rush thing like, should I be fucking putting my money into this shit? Like, I feel sorry for those people. Those fucking people have no idea what they're doing, right? Because they haven't studied Solana, right? They don't really know what's going on in Solana. 그런 사람들이 Solana 잘 몰라요, right? But yeah, here's some other examples of some weird ass projects, right? 뭐 다른 이상한 프로젝트도 알려줄게요. 이건 다 개인 의견입니다. This is just my opinion when it comes to these projects, right? Of things that you should not invest in. Here's some other blatantly weird ass projects. 이제 너무 사기 티나는 프로젝트들 많았어. 그래서 하나 더 알려줄게요. 하나 더 보여줄게요. I'll show you another project that I saw that was a complete just straight up garbage scam, right? Let me show you. There was something down here. 여기 밑에 하나 있었어요. There was one that that had like a fucking like a guy's like fingers, right? It was so bizarre. 완전 이상한 프로젝트 하나 있었어요. 여기 밑쪽에. Um, I forgot which one it was. 정확히 어떤 프로젝트인지 잘 모르겠어요. 이거 한번 찾아볼게요. Let me like this is fucking weird, right? This type of shit is really weird. 이런 거 보세요. 이름이 Solana이고 여기 정보 보면 Solana lovers로 이거 하나밖에 없고 여기 presentation을 가면 이상한 사이트로 가요. It's not even a real website, right? And then these guys are submitting this project. This doesn't even fucking make sense. These are the type of garbage submissions that are obvious, like just complete garbage projects. 이런 프로젝트들은 완전 쓰레기예요. 그냥 그런 거 보면 그냥 바로 그냥 넘어가야 돼요. If you see weird shit like that, you just go to the next project and ignore it, right? It's like wasting your time, right? I don't want my subscribers to waste their time, which is why I went through all this stuff and whittled down the list for you, right? 이런 프로젝트 굳이 뭐 다 볼 필요 없으니까 제가 대신으로 이제 이 프로젝트 싹 한번 보고 이제 정리해 준 거예요. 이렇게. Right? That's again that I don't want you to waste your time investing in Solana. So I do all the work for you. 제가 대신으로 다 이런 분석해 줘요. Right? But yeah, those kinds of projects you should fucking definitely avoid, right? Oh yeah, this is the weird finger one. 이거 이상한 손가락 프로젝트였어. I mean, this is like look at the name. 이 제목 보세요. I'm honestly not sure. 나 정확히 잘 모르겠다. 하고 My project is definitely something. 이게 보세요. 이거 내 프로젝트 확실히 뭐 좋은 프로젝트이다. I hope you like it. 우리 프로젝트 좋아했으면 좋겠어. I mean, and then this is the picture. 이 사진이 이거예요. Like obviously this is just garbage. 물론 이런 거 그냥 완전 쓰레기고 그냥 넘어가야 돼요. You just weird see this weird shit all the time with our hackathons. Just ignore those projects. 우리 hackathon 할 때마다 항상 그런 이상한 프로젝트 이제 제출하니까 그냥 넘어가죠. 그런 프로토콜 아예 볼 필요 없어요. Right? 이름부터 rush네. 네 맞아요. 이 이름 이 진짜 이런 이제 이 여기 설명 보면 I mean you look at the little mini explanations here. You can tell right away, right, what the serious projects are and what the, gimmick projects are. 이런 거 여기 간단히 봐도 바로 볼 수 있어. 바로 판단할 수 있어. 진짜 얘네들이 뭐 장난치는 건지 아니면 진짜 이 좋은 프로젝트 이제 개발하고 싶은지 그런 거 되게 빨리 판단할 수 있어요. 뭐 시간 뭐 그렇게 많이 투자할 필요 없어. You don't have to spend a lot of time looking through these projects, right? You'll get a sense very quickly of which projects are legit and which ones are just wasting your time, right? But yeah. Anyways, 아니 왜 저런 거 받아주지? 성의가 1도 주성준님 그거 되게 좋은 질문이에요. 그냥 생각해 봐요. 솔라나 입장으로는 이런 프로젝트 이제 들어야 되는 이유는 이제 솔라나가 투자자들한테 이제 홍보해 줄 때 "야 우리 서머 캠프 해커톤에 이 DeFi 프로젝트들 중에 160 개가 이제 프로젝트를 제출했다. 와 사람들이 솔라나 관심 엄청 많다." 이제 물론 그런 이제 관심이 있으니까 얘네들이 그냥 억지로 그냥 받는 거예요. 왜냐면 걔네들 이제 숫자로만 이제 그런 이제 발표할 때 걔네들한테 잘 보이니까 우리 같은 경우는 우리는 쪼끔 더 지혜롭고 이제 성안에 투자한 지 오래됐으니까 우리 같은 경우는 물론 그런 이제 그런 거 다 잘 알아요. 그런 이제 사기 잘 알아요. 그래서 우리는 물론 더 이제 잘 판단할 수 있는데 항상 이제 성안에 새 투자자들이 들어오고 있으니까 걔네들이 이런 거 잘 모르니까 그런 전략 잘 모르니까 이제 저희 방송 이제 보는 거예요. 왜냐면 물론 제가 첫 Solana YouTuber니까, right? I'm the first Solana YouTuber. Solana has a kind of moral hazard. They have a perverse incentive for even receiving these kinds of garbage projects in the first place, because they can announce, right? Oh, we had 160 submissions, right? It's not a matter of quality for these people. 질보다는 이제 수량 더 많이 신경 쓰니까 Solana 입장으로는, right? It's a game of quantity for Solana, not quality, right? But for us, we're retail investors, so we don't want to be just wasting our money on these shitty projects. We want to get into good projects, right? 우리 같은 경우는 일반인 투자자들이니까 저 좋은 프로젝트만 이제 들어가고 싶으니까 우리는 이렇게 따로 공부해야 돼요. We gotta study this shit, study this stuff, right? 성의가 하나도 아니 그럼 우리를 원숭이로 생각하는 거. 네. 추성진님 그래서 제가 항상 말하는 거예요. 이제 크립토에 투자하고 싶으면 진짜 시간 좀 투자하고 이제 진짜 구체적으로 봐야 돼요. 왜 이제 정확히 왜 솔라나에 투자하는지 그런 이유 이제 있어야 이제 솔라나에 투자해야 돼요. Again, right? Because, right, if you're investing in Solana, right, this is how much detail you have to get into. Like you have to see the quality of our projects and whether there's actually good stuff being built on Solana if you want to invest in Solana, right? So that you have to make that decision yourself. It's all up to you, right? You guys are all smart. You guys can judge these projects, right, on their own merits. 우리 구독자들은 다 똑똑하고 다 이제 알아서 잘 이제 투자해요. 이런 프로젝트 공부하면서 연구하면서, right? All right. There's no Solana questions in the comments. 이 댓글 따로 뭐 질문 같은 거 없으니까 오늘은 여기까지만 할게요. I'll stop here today. Enjoy your weekends. Look into these projects. There's many other categories other than DeFi, but today's broadcast was obviously focused on DeFi. 다 좋은 주말 보내고 오늘 나온 프로젝트 다 한번 보시고 여기에 한번 다 보시고 오늘은 제가 이제 따로 DeFi 프로젝트만 커버했는데 다 한번 보세요. There are probably lots of other good projects. 물론 다른 좋은 프로젝트 많을 거예요. 여기 다른 종류별에, right? But do that on your own time. And that is it for me today. 오늘은 여기까지만 할게요. 추성진님 나와서 너무 감사합니다. Right? Thank you for the people who came out. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great day. Take it easy, everyone.